Good afternoon and good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this presentation of, an introduction to eighth grade business leadership. All right. Now, the context of this presentation is for those who are unable to be here and be with me on the first few days of class. What that basically means is I'm going to skip a couple things that we might cover in class, okay? But I am going to be covering things that we would also cover in class. So keep that in mind. So if you're in Columbia homeroom and you are watching this, okay, make sure that you check out the additional videos that I have set there for you. But familiarize yourself with this because this is a class introduction. All right, so here we go. We're not going to worry about this slide because you're not here, so we're going to go straight to the interview. One, the idea of this course is to introduce you to basic leadership skills. What does that mean? Okay, am I going to teach you to be a leader? No, but we're going to look at those skills. Exactly what skills are we going to be looking at? Well, there's a variety of skills, right? But remember, leadership means that not necessarily that you're the one taking the lead and saying, okay, everybody follow me, okay? That's not always what leadership is, right? Sometimes leadership is going as far as managing your checkbooks, starting your business, right? Or maybe taking an additional role above and beyond in your first jobs, okay? We're going to teach you a little in this class about what it takes to land those first jobs, some of the skills to think about, so on and so forth. Also a part of that leadership is working towards your career. So let's go ahead and go to the next bullet point here, all right? We are going to be building on basic technology and communication skills, okay? Not only does that mean business typing, okay, business keyboarding, right, because we still use those little devices in front of the keyboard, right, to do work. We're not stuck on phones. We're going to learn about that in the first lesson, okay? But there's other communication skills that are really important as well. We're going to see that we're going to focus a lot on writing and communication of information, verbally, what our body language says, so on and so forth. We're going to develop the skills needed towards future careers. We're going to look at future careers, and we're also going to start setting academic goals. What do you have to think about for the future? In other words, if you really like finance and accounting and math, okay, what should you look at in high school to help with that process? What do accountants do? What do finance people do? Those are the things we'll be looking at, right? Now, if you're thinking, well, wait a minute, Mr. C, I don't think I'm going to college. Well, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. What kind of skills are needed for those to get into the workplace? We're going to look at that, all right? And we're also going to create an introductory knowledge of general business, okay, basic overall broad concepts, a look at entrepreneurship. You're going to find that entrepreneurs are responsible for a lot of different elements in business and, of course, business leadership. All right. We are also going to develop problem solving and observational skills for your personal business and the workplace. Problem solving, such as, hey, I'd really like to go ahead and make sure that I have a vehicle, okay, when I start learning how to drive. What's it going to take to do that, okay? How can I learn from the mistakes from people around me? How am I going to solve different problems? By problem solving, I don't just mean looking at a word problem and figuring out, okay, 3 monkeys and an apple go to a zoo, okay? That's not necessarily where I'm talking about, although that's really important, all right? It's not maybe all the kind of problems that are out there. So basic problem solving, all right? In other words, if you're presented with something to solve, how are you going to solve it, okay? We're going to look at utilizing and develop interpersonal skills needed for the general workforce. Interpersonal skills means those skills that we use to interact with others, okay? And we're going to look at those. Sometimes they're called soft skills, all right? Example, all right? Let's say that I was the fastest person and I could assemble things faster than anybody else in the whole business, okay? But what if I was the nastiest person to work with and I always had a bad attitude, all right? How, should a manager maybe treat that? What should the other employees do and how should they treat that individual situation, right? We're going to be working towards the next step in your careers, all right? Because that's really what we're looking at. Is that career in college? Is that career in the workforce? Or maybe a combination of both? That's what business leadership is, all right? And those are the things that we're going to look at, okay? All righty. So a real quick introduction about myself, okay? Now, I'm not saying this to brag, okay? That's not the purpose of this. I don't like bragging for the purpose of bragging, but it's to let you know that you are learning from someone who's pretty good at what they're doing, all right? A pretty competent individual, all right? So, first things first, retail and professional sales. I was a salesperson from the time I was about 18 forward, okay? So I have about 14 years combined experience in retail and professional sales. That means I sold everything from Walkmans, if you know what those are, personal portable CD players, the predecessor to the MP3 player, right? And, or the iPod. Let's see, professional sales, meaning I sold everything from cars to homes to, well, land properties, so on and so forth, right? So a lot of professional sales experience, right? So that means that I place a lot of emphasis on communication, because communication of ideas, because that's what sales is all about, listening and communicating, okay? And that's really good skills for anywhere on the workplace, right? And personally, I think everything is a sale, okay? Next thing, technical support. Yeah, here's a really cool thing. This is, right here, A+ certification handbook, okay, from CompTIA. They're a certification program, okay? Before I decided to make another career choice, I was studying this guy. I read the whole thing, all right? So, yeah, I know computers pretty good. Not all of it, all the way inside and out, but there's usually nothing that I can't solve when it comes to computers, especially if I have access and the ability to take care of that. In other words, there's things that I can't do because I'm not an IT administrator, okay, or the IT administrator, but there's things that I can do that I'm pretty good with on the computer itself, all right? I've ignited business ventures and provided business planning. There are 2 businesses that are operating, well, 3 businesses that are operating because of my recommendations and leadership, so on and so forth. They didn't hire me on board because I acted as a consultant. Consultant means they contracted out to me. I helped them start the business, got them going, and then they took over things from there, okay? So yeah, I know the business world pretty good, and I continue to operate my own business on the side. I own and operate On the Mic Entertainment, okay? Let's see, On the Mic Entertainment, we recently switched gears. We had an artist. They recently released an album, really, really cool stuff. You know, it's great to work with them on the music side of things. And, by the way, I'm also a musician, okay? And anywho, they released their first album, and I also have produced a couple songs that are out there on the internet. You can look those up on your own term. Not selling it, but saying, hey, I have experience with that. I received my 4-year degree from the University of Miami. I am a Hurricane alumni. I bleed orange and green, all right? Now, if you're sitting there going back and doing the gator chomp or doing some sort of weird thing back and forth with your hand, I don't know what that is, right? Well, that's fine. You can do that all you want to, all right? But know that I went to school at Miami. That's where it taught me to be a better musician, right? I minored in business administration. So that means I studied music and music business, okay? But I minored in business administration. That means I studied entrepreneurship and finance and so on and so forth on the side, right? So I am currently working towards my master's degree in education leadership. And basically, in other words, my next step is to be assistant principal or principal somewhere, right? This is my 6th year teaching, okay? And this is my 6th year teaching this program. So I've taught this program about 12 different times, okay? So yeah, I kind of know it inside and out, right? So I say all that so that you know that you are working with a good and competent instructor. All right, next bit. Mission statements. We're going to learn more about mission statements when we get to our marketing section, okay? Because marketing is really important for a business. If businesses don't market, how can people know about them, okay? And mission statements basically set the tone for how the business is going to work, okay? Sometimes companies let the people in the business, in other words, the employees, know what the mission statement is so that they can all be on one accord. And sometimes businesses will put the mission statement out in their lobbies or somewhere so that when people come in, they know what to expect from the business. So here is my mission statement for the classroom. All right, Mr. Cadle's vision for the classroom is to educate students on the skills and tools needed for a modern and ever-changing workforce. All right, what vision means is, what do I see happening, right? What do I want to happen? What is the overall goal? Okay, that is the vision. Here's what we're going to accomplish. Okay, so I'm going to teach you and educate you on the skills and tools needed for a modern and ever-changing workforce. Pretty simple, right? Now, a mission, on the other hand, means how you're going to get there. This is my mission. Okay, this is my vision. This is what I want to happen. But my mission is a series of events that need to happen in order for that vision to be enacted. All right. So his mission, or my mission, is to enable this by providing relevant instruction. That's a big one, right? Relevant instruction. I'm never going to waste your time. By maintaining high expectations of his students, right? Yeah, I do have high expectations. That means I'm not going to accept mediocre stuff, okay? I know what you guys are capable of, okay? So I always want you to do your best, okay? So high expectations. I also believe that you are going to take something away from my class. All students will learn something from me, I promise, right? By being a role model, okay? Well, that goes without saying. And by assuming that all students, notice that, all students will grow with the information and practices and strategies needed for the real world working environment. As I just said, if you are ever in class with me, I never waste your time, okay? Sometimes we're focusing on the business of our future careers, the business of ourselves, right? The business of handling money, and sometimes we're handling the business of being a student, okay? So we're always ready and handling, business in the business lab. All right, next slide here. Speaking of handling our, expectations, right? School-wide lab expectations. These are the expectations that are in every single lab. And whether if you're in the media lab or the business lab or whatever other lab you are in, all right? All right, so school-wide expectations for all labs can be summarized as focus on learning. That's why we're here, right? Schools and public schools are in the business of educating students. Okay, that's why we're here. Okay, so your job needs to be focused on learning so that we can do what we need to make that happen. Act responsibly. Okay, we'll go more about that a little bit later on, but there's a way to act, and that should always be towards the responsible side of things, right? You're going to lead by positive example. That's part of the leadership side of things, right? You got to come to class. All right. Now, when I say come to class, if you are doing the distance learning in Columbia Homeroom, there are going to be some regular assignments. If you're not partaking of the assignments, that means you're not doing the work. And so you're not acting responsibly. You're not leading by positive example. You're not focusing on learning. See how they all tie in together? Okay. So you got to come to class. If you're online, fine. Make sure your online stuff is taken care of. Come on time. Okay. If you are on campus with me, come to class on time. Okay. And then, of course, never bully. In other words, we respect people, okay? Act responsibly. We're respectful to everybody because everybody has something positive to contribute in the classroom, okay? And then show respect to others. Alrighty. Now, if you're thinking, wait a minute, Mr. C, those just sound like a whole bunch of school rules that the principal came up with. Well, yeah, you're right. All right, they did. Now, I want to show you something. In a few moments, my next slide, not this one, but the one coming up, is going to show you my expectations here in the lab. But I wanted to show you a real-life example from the real world, all right? So this right here, this little image on the right-hand side of the screen here, you're right, all right? In other words, this side right there, this screen right there, that little red thingy right there, yeah, okay. So that is can be found hanging up in one of my favorite restaurants. The place is called Café Reconcile. Now, if you're thinking, well, that doesn't sound very good. It should be like Café Seafood Fresh or something, right? If it's in New Orleans, it should be like Café Creole, no? All right, so no, it's a great restaurant. Now, there's something specific about this restaurant. This restaurant hires people to who are maybe have been on the bad track of things and are trying to get their life straight. Maybe they've held a job and they weren't able to hold it for very long. Or maybe it's their first job. Or maybe they have a sincere desire to get in the workforce but don't know how. Okay? Well, they have an opportunity to restart their lives at Café Reconcile here. All right? Now, the managers and the owners of Café Reconcile and this program make all of their employees memorize these 8 habits of success. In other words, how can they find success in the workforce and on the job? Okay, so here's what they say. 1, you got to be on time. Okay, that goes without saying, all right? If you're not here, somebody else is having to do the job for you, so be on time. They say be present all day, every day. That's present in body and in mind, okay? You can't just show up to work, clock out, and leave, okay? That's not how it works, all right? You got to accept and follow directions. Can you imagine if they didn't follow directions when preparing foods, right? What if they didn't prepare the chicken to the recommended temperature, right? Or if they didn't wash the salad and the greens correctly, or didn't wash their hands, especially with the whole COVID thing going on, right? It'd be horrible, okay? So yeah, all right, you got to accept and follow directions. If somebody says something and they're a manager, right, they're saying it for a reason. They're not just giving you a hard time. Hey, that kind of works with teachers too, right? All right, work well with others, even when it's difficult. Can you believe that you're not going to like everybody you work with? You're not going to get along with everybody that you work with in a group, okay? You've got to work well with them because you're all working towards the same goal, okay? Have a positive, not a negative attitude towards the work, all right? Mr. C, this work is horrible. I don't want to do it anymore, okay? I don't like doing it. This doesn't help me at all. I'm going to go out and start my own business and, right? So have a positive and not negative attitude towards the work. Again, I promise I'm never going to waste your time here in the business lab. Take care of personal appearance every day, all right? That goes without saying, okay? Yes, Mr. C has a beard. It's always nice, clean, and trimmed, okay? Now, if I was working at a restaurant and somebody had a beard, I would hope that it was nice, clean, and trimmed, right? Now, not to be weird or anything, but if there was like this big, straggly, bearded guy with little pieces of beard falling out everywhere and other kind of grossness coming off of his body serving me food, I would seriously question what's going on, right? So always take care of personal appearance every day. That's their expectation, right? By the way, that's one of the reasons we have dress codes here at Lake City Middle School, right? Get things done with the expected time, not when it's convenient for you, but within the expected time. So if somebody says, hey, I want the floor mopped before you leave, that means you got to mop the floor before you leave, okay? Pretty simple there, right? Not after. Not when you get back the next day, within the expected time frame, okay? And do a quality job at each and every task, all right? All right, so there we go. There's those rules. All right, so let's see how we can apply those to Mr. C's basic expectations. All right, 1, clock management. Be at your workstation, seated and working when the bell rings. All right, if you are on campus with me, okay, and you come to class, I expect you to be seated when the bell rings. All right. All right. I know there's going to be exceptions to that, and I'll let you know that. But when you come into class, there's always going to be something to do on the projector screen. All right. And I expect that you'll be at your seat, logging in, getting your work loaded up, or whatever's assigned for that day. And taking care of that, right? I don't want people up and around. I don't want to be people selling hot fries and Cheetos and Takis to everybody else. That's not what we do around here, all right? All right, so be at your workstation, seated and ready to work when the bell rings. Pretty simple. Clock management. It's like clocking in. When you sit down, you log in. That tells me, Mr. C, I am ready for work, all right? All right, working relationships. Be respectful to your peers. That's important. Respectful to everybody else around you. To yourself. That's interesting. And me, Mr. C, the instructor, all right? And I put to yourself in here because here's something that I hear frequently. Mr. C, I can't. I just can't do this. I'm sorry. Well, you know what? Let's give it an honest effort, okay? And you'll see that Mr. C is, well, we'll work with you on certain things, okay? So, be respectful to yourself. If you just say I can't and don't even try, right? Then you really haven't respected yourself. You're just giving up before you even have a chance to try it, all right? This says asset. Asset, we'll learn when we get into accounting and finance, is basically something of value, okay? So treat the property, all right, in this room responsibly, okay? That goes without saying. I shouldn't see you popping off keys on keyboards, right? I shouldn't see you with liquids and, pulling liquids on my keyboard or, something crazy like that. I got plenty of stories I can tell you about that violated this rule, right? You're basically treating everything responsibly while using the utmost care to prevent accidental damage or distractions, all right? By the way, everything that you see and look at and send in this classroom is tracked on an individual server, and you can't stop it from happening, okay? It's tracked. There's no way to bypass it, all right? Other students have tried. Good luck, all right? So, you can't do it. Quality of work. Be diligent towards the work you produce, the information you absorb, and the working environment. Diligence means you're putting forth the best effort. So you're always putting forth your best effort in every single job, every single assignment, every single task. You're paying attention. Remember, this is why we're here. We're in the business of learning, right? All right. Finally, follow directions the first time they are given. All right. You'll find that Mr. C doesn't like to repeat himself. It's horrible how they don't like to do. All right. All right. All right. All right. So make sure you follow directions the first time they are given. All right, not too much longer here. Emergencies and safety. Real quick, if you are in class with me, and I'll show you if you're here with me, there is a procedure that we use for fire drills and other things, and I'll show you with that one-on-one, and we'll have some reminders throughout the day, so I don't need to cover that too much in this video, but basically our area is to be going out to where the car riders go. I will have my megaphone. I ask that we're quiet, respectful, that kind of thing. I shouldn't see any pushing or shoving, and because we walk by the administrator building, I don't want to have conversations with Mr. Cooper going, sorry about my class, Mr. Cooper, they couldn't behave themselves. All right? That's not what I'm going to do. All right? There are some things I expect. All right? Please, please, please just stay seated unless otherwise instructed. Look, if you sneeze and you don't have your face mask on and you're in class, right? And you got some funky stuff hanging out, okay? All you got to do is cover up and go, all right? Let me know what's going on. If I see your hand covering your nose and you're raising your hand, I'm going to say, dude, take care of it, right? So yeah, just stay seated unless otherwise instructed. There's no reason to be up and about on your own accord, okay? And so that's just a good rule to follow, all right? And I know that we're going to be sitting down for long periods of time with block scheduling. I'll account for it, I promise, all right? I do have 3 no student entry zones in the classroom, okay? Entry zone number 1 is my closet, all right? So if you need anything from the closet, I will direct you there one-on-one. That's where I keep, tissues at, all right? That's where I keep additional hand sanitizer, so on and so forth, okay? So no entry zones unless I authorize you to be in there. But I also have thousands of dollars worth of audio equipment in there because I run the sound in the school, okay? So yeah, that's a no-no. Additional area is this room that I'm in right now, okay? This is my office. There is no reason to be in my office unless you are invited in there or told to get something from there, all right? I do not want students in here. Even if the door is open, you should not be in this room. Okay, if I am in here by myself, okay, and you need my attention, so like during my planning period or so on and so forth, I won't have you in the room with me, okay? I will go out and talk to you in the hallway or outside, one or the other, where people can see us, okay? That's just a safety thing, all right? That's my no entry zone. And finally, the area in front of my projector screen and around that little work area that I keep towards the front corner of the room, that's also a no entry zone for various reasons. And that goes from not only time the bell rings, but from the time that you enter my class. Those are no entry zones, all right? So that's the closet, the office, and the area up front around the room between the projector and the filing cabinet. Can't miss it, all right? All right, no food or gum. Yes, water is allowed. I'm going to ask that we keep water inside our containers on the floor, never on the desk, okay? But yeah, no food and even gum. Why not gum? Because I found that the average middle schooler doesn't know how to respect gum, because where does it go when they get done with it? Oh, this gum doesn't taste any good. Right up underneath the desk, okay? And that's not how we do things, all right? So just no gum, all right? And then I don't have to walk on it, and people don't have to sit on it, so on and so forth, all right? All righty, let's see here. I am going to give 3 restroom and emergency passes to use per quarter, but once you're done with your 3, that's it, okay? That's it, all right? Be happy you got 3 because of block scheduling. It used to be 1, okay? It used to be 1, so you get 6 per semester. If you're using more than that, I need to have something on file for you, right? Again, being in class is part of the gig here, right? You can't learn if you're not in class, all right? So we got to stay in class to learn, all right? And then treat this opportunity in the lab as on-the-job training. In other words, you're training while you're working, okay? So I want you to treat this like the real deal, like almost like it's your first job, okay? Because that's what we're aiming for here. All right, I'm almost done. Business and the work lab basics, okay? If for some reason someone decides to violate one of my expectations, I do have a process that I follow. Usually it's a verbal warning or some sort of classroom statement. Hey, watch out for this, okay? Second time, name on the board. That happens every once in a while. And then we start doing the checks and so on and so forth. You can read what's going on here. I don't need to go over this with y'all, right? So understand, though, that I don't like writing referrals, okay? And not that I don't like to. It's just I don't find myself doing it that often. Why? Because it's really not needed in my classroom, okay? Now, if you earn it, you are going to get it. And let me tell you, if Miss Doppler or Mr. Murphy sees that I've written it, they're going to be like, look, Mr. Cadle wrote it. Okay, yeah, I got nothing. We got to do whatever we got to do, okay? Because if Mr. Cadle writes it, that means something bad happened, all right? So just be aware of that, all right? Of course, severe and immediate severe disruptions are sent immediately to the office, or I have somebody come pick you up, okay? But hopefully we don't have to do that in here, and hopefully in this class we ain't got to worry about it. We had great success with my 7th graders last year, and I look forward to having that momentum carried forward. All right, what to bring? Bring your mind and attention. Look, I understand if sometimes we have bad days and we need to take a snoozer, okay, or we're not feeling well. Cool. Speaking of which, if you're not feeling well, especially with what's going on right now, make sure you check in with the nurse, okay? But bring your mind and attention. If you're just having a rough emotional day, I'm cool with you putting your head down every once in a while. I get it. Just as long as all your work is turned into me, that's cool. You are going to need your own headphones. I do have community set, but it's hard to disinfect them because they're the foamy ones. So just bring your own headphones. These do not have Bluetooth, so you got to have something that plugs into the adapter itself, all right? Not a USB, okay, but one of the basic, I don't have one with me, one of the basic little cordy thingies, right? That has a little tip on the end of it, okay? Yeah, bring one of those in. If you do not have internet access from your home, okay, you can bring a flash drive and we can go over certain bits of information. But I'll have to get with you one-on-one to take care of that. But anywhere you have access to the internet, we're going to use Google Classroom a lot, okay? We're going to use our Google student accounts a lot, okay? And I am integrating all of my classwork and doing things a little bit differently than I've done in the years past, all right? So we're kind of changing things up, making it easier for you, because that's what's important, right? I want you to get the work done and turned in. All right. General school supplies. If you're a note taker, bring notes, that kind of thing. Okay. But we don't use glue, paper, scissors around here. That's just not this class. We are a digitally driven classroom. Okay. It's hard to glue something in on the monitor. Not anyway. All right. Remember, this is on job training. All right. But yeah, do make sure you're bringing your headphones. Okay. Because we are going to use those almost every day that you're in here with me. Almost. All right. Especially talking like how much as I got to talk. Right. Yeah. All right. Sometimes my voice needs a rest. All right. Grading policy. Really simple. 50-50. Okay. 50% of your work is classwork. All right, 50% of your work is participation, quizzes. So you'll find that I do classwork, participation, quizzes, 50%, okay? Bell ringers, 10%, or I'm sorry, well, 10%, going towards that 50%. So classwork, participation, quizzes, 40, bell ringers, 10, okay? Makes 50%, okay? Tests and projects, 50%. We don't do as many tests and projects. So as long as you get all of your classwork, participation, quizzes, bell ringers in, right, and you do pretty good jobs with your tests and projects, you can get a really good grade in here, all right? It's really simple. It's really easy to make an A or a B in Mr. C's class, all right? If you're earning C's and D's, that means you're not doing your stuff and putting forth your best effort and doing your diligence, right? So it's 100% your effort, right? So again, 50% classwork, participation in quizzes, and bell ringers plus 50% for tests and projects is 100% your effort, okay? And then finally, leadership, all right, is a combination of mind and knowledge and power and skill and being motivated to do the right thing and being responsible and working with others and communicating your ideas and knowing what you're talking about and being supported by others, right? So in other words, your efforts plus my coaching and instructions means that we can be successful, All right. So I hope to have a great year with everybody. And if you're in my Columbia homeroom, as soon as you're able to join us back in the classroom, I look forward to that. I look forward to working with you. That concludes this introduction. And look, we did it in under 30 minutes. All right. Thank you. And look forward to working with everybody this semester.